Good evening, I'm Jeremy. If you've been following my channel, such as it is, for any length of time, you will probably know that I have very recently released a record. If you haven't been following me, I've just released a record. Yeah, it's the culmination of about 3 years' work, plus all the writing and everything that went on before that. But 3 years of quietly chipping away in a studio on every other weekend, and a lot of time spent sitting here in this chair in this corner, writing guitar parts and practicing them. So, by way of update, recent developments and everything, this week, the CDs finally turned up. So this is it, Shadows in the Shade by Jay Callender. That is the front. That is the reverse. You see the songs and stuff, and it's there's like a CD and stuff inside. It's all very tangible and tactile, and I'm quite chuffed. Yeah. Something else turned up this week. Now, obviously, I knew that the CDs were coming, because I'd been working on it for 3 years, and what I had not anticipated was coming, was going to develop, was that in addition to CDs, I now have T-shirts. This is one of them. There are two designs. This is the tour T-shirt. You probably can't really read them, but though on the back are the dates and locations. Yeah, courtesy of Twisted Thread in Hamilton, who also sold me this very nice T-shirt. So that's all come about rather quickly, and I talked about the T-shirts in the last video I did, and just how that came to be. But at that stage, I didn't have a sample. So there's a second design, which is literally the album cover on the front, and then the songs, not the picture, but just like a black T-shirt with the words, the song list on the back. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm sure it looks cool. I mean, the pictures I've seen look cool. I believe I've even sold a couple, which is quite exciting. So yeah, CDs and T-shirts. Excuse me. So I guess the purpose of this video was to say, hey, oh my gosh, here they are. But also I thought, with a view to providing a little more substance. As I say, I and obviously the other people who are involved in the project, quietly chipped away on this record for 3 years of recording. There was another year before that where myself and the other musicians who played, where we were, as and when we were able to, getting together and workshopping and rehearsing the songs. But this is something I've wanted to do since I was 18 years old. Now, as some of you will know, when I was in my 20s, I played in bands, and we recorded EPs, and one of the bands I played in, we recorded a full-length album with a producer, and I later did a wee acoustic solo album, but no, I'm very grateful to have done all of that, but none of that really represented what I'm talking about. I wanted to make what would be, by my estimations, a rock album of my songs. Now, in a band, there's, as great as that can be, and as much fun as it was, that's very much more like a democracy. There's give and take, and I wanted to do something that was mine. And now I've done it, and that's just quite jolly. And I've never been very good in celebrating or even enjoying my successes. So I'm grateful that this has occurred at a point in my life where I've gotten a bit better at it, and I am really, really just quietly enjoying the fact that I've achieved this thing that, for many decades, for more 2/3 of my life almost, I have wanted to do, and so that's super cool. The T-shirt thing is really cool as well, in a slightly different way. When I was in high school, that's about the age where obviously a lot of kids are really getting into music, and all the cool kids would have T-shirts of their favorite bands, Guns N' Roses and Metallica or Alice in Chains. Before I was really aware of Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Primus, Jane's Addiction. Those are the ones that I remember. And I didn't really have any of that. I did eventually get like a white long sleeve, Metallica T-shirt. It was like Justice for All, and I was real proud of that. I loved that. I didn't even have a Justice for All, the record. I had the Black Album and Master of Puppets and Kill 'Em All, or something like that. And then later on, I had some awful Nirvana T-shirt. Nothing against Nirvana, just the T-shirt was kind of awful. But I always felt, I wouldn't say jealous, but it just, it wasn't really something that I had much of. And I always thought, oh man, those T-shirts are real cool. and there's something about like properly done, properly printed official band merchandise. It has a look, it has a texture, an aesthetic that I really loved. And so to now, so unexpectedly, to have my own T-shirts that have that aesthetic is, again, I'm quietly chuffed. It's just a really nice little thing for me, that I, again, am greatly enjoying. I haven't the faintest idea if I'll sell many, and I'm not worried. I mean, it'll be whatever it is, but I'm just enjoying the fact that I've got T-shirts. Twisted Thread, a company that I really love, are selling my stuff, and there's a page on their website, J Calendar, with my T-shirts, and some people have bought them. Another really cool thing that happened this week, one of my songs, I think it was The Little People, which is the opening track on the record, was played on a radio station in the US. I missed it, unfortunately. I found out about it quite late in the piece, but I did find out in time, except it said it was, something rather Eastern Standard Time. I was like, oh, I'm in New Zealand, what does that equate to? And of course, by the time I actually got around to Googling what time it was, I'd already missed it. That's okay. I'm sure it sounded the same as it does on the CD, but it would have been nice to have heard it. Maybe, see if the DJ said anything around it. But anyway, but that's just, it's not a big radio station as far as I can tell. But I think it was like a hard rock and heavy metal station. But again, just I have gotten a great deal of enjoyment from the fact, just from that little piece of knowledge, that somehow a radio station, a radio show in the US, the DJ got hold of my, became aware of my music. I think I do know ultimately how it happened, but and then they liked it enough to play it on this show, and it's just cool. I'm just enjoying that, because for a nobody at the bottom of the world, to have had to know that one of my songs was played on an American radio show, it's kind of cool. So yeah, that's where things are at. I've written a new song, which I'm greatly enjoying, and I started playing around with it on my 12-string guitar this evening, and that was very encouraging. That was cool. So that I don't know if it's going to make an appearance on my tour that's coming up, Maybe I might play it at one of the shows, simply because the friends who gave me the 12-string guitar, I know would love to see it played live, you know. How did they put it? See it used in anger, I think was the expression. And there's one particular, I think, yeah, there's one particular show that I think they may well turn up to, and so I might play it there, just for that song. So yeah, that's it. It's been, I've had a good week. Got my CDs. Oh, I sold one. Well, I've actually sold a couple, but it was quite neat. The first one I sold on Wednesday night at it's not exactly an open mic gig. It's sort of, but like it's not it's not worth trying to explain exactly, but like an open mic night thing, but where the people who play at it are invited to play at it, and they may or may not turn up. So sort of halfway between an open mic night and an actual gig. So I went up and played half a dozen songs, and afterwards there was a guy there who I didn't know, and he really enjoyed it, and asked if he could buy a CD. What was particularly cool about it was that it turned out that he was a fan of Derek Lind, who is one of my primary songwriting heroes, and I don't come across many people who have heard of Derek Lind, sadly. And so to get to sell my first record to someone I didn't know after a show, and for them to be a fan of Derek Lind, was there was just sort of a nice cosmic circularity to that, which I enjoyed. So yeah, I'm not going to ramble on anymore. Have a good night, and listen to some music or play some music. And as somebody said to me earlier this week, I mean, they weren't directing it at me. They were directing it at other people in a conversation with me. Go out, if you like music, go out and see a local band play. You know, it seems like there's a lot of people out, you know, these days who are prepared to spend $300, $400, $500 to go to some big venue with questionable sound quality and be around thousands of other people who are getting drunk. But they won't spend 10 or 20 bucks, and usually it's closer to 10, to go and see a local band play. And I'm not going to go off and have a big rant about that, but I think it's, you know, that it's worth pondering that. If you're somebody who enjoys live music, you know, whatever city, you know, especially if you live in a city, because sure, plenty of small towns, you know, don't really have a music scene. But certainly if you live in a city and you know that there are bands that play, go out and listen to them play. I mean, you know, just do it once. You know, you don't have to go and watch them again if you don't like them. But you know, go and be part of the solution. It's not getting any easier for musicians. You know, I'm in a very fortunate position. I'm not going to say privileged because I loathe the word and its connotations, but I'm very fortunate in that I have a job that pays the bills most of the time. I'm doing this for the love of it, and you know, as are these bands. But you know, they're often a lot younger. You know, 20, 25 years younger than me. They don't have any money, and it's, you know, it means a lot to them if people go out and at least give them a chance. You know, just anyway, food for thought. Have a good night. Have a good weekend.